DDrakgo or DKDrakgo?
Or
DDrakgo, yeah. Oh, yes, okay.
DDrakgo, yeah.
DDrakgo.
I always thought it was Drago. I never saw the K. I literally know them IRL. And I always thought their tag was Drago.
That's okay. I think you can help me with pronunciation since you actually know the player.
Yeah, they're a Nipo resident, as we've I've discussed with Pearl off stream, but not for anybody who doesn't know on stream of the glorious land of Nipo, home of Mondo e Joel. Speaking of which, getting a home at ledge, trying to get out of this corner, already a 60% deficit.
Yeah, absolutely. The Duck Hunt dog able to establish some of the cans pretty quickly, and that's going to blow up both players here. Monk able to get going for a big punish here, coming out swinging. However, these clay pigeons from DDrakgo going out, and that is going to be the very first stock going to Monk in a pretty quick blow.
Those beans are getting stirred right now in these scramble scenarios. What I'm seeing a lot is that anytime Monk finally gets his evil hands on the silly little dog, it's just kind of a pause for huge scramble scenarios.
For sure, as you can see here, both of these players fighting around each other, but you can see that DDrakgo is able to set up a whole lot of projectiles, such as the can and then the gunman, as well as these clay pigeons in order to try to interrupt the momentum of Monk. Monk coming in from the upper platform, trying to go for a large punish against DDrakgo, and then able to get some damage with the dash attack, but being the slower character here, Monk has a whole lot of reads to do, still on his third stock, by the way, and at full rage, too. Finding himself off stage now, trying to avoid the can, but that is going to send him at a pretty nasty angle and losing that stock.
Yeah, no one expects the Spanish in transition. Reverse can coming out, sneaks out on that ledge. That's a big thing. Is I think Drago is finally starting to get their bearings with how they want to plat can, because they know it's like, oh, this character doesn't have legs. They can't really do that much.
Yeah, quick stock there though from Monk, able to get that reversal there. Trying to go for the grab and the throw into the can, but the clay pigeon's coming out now, and Monk is going to parry some of these. DDrakgo going to go for the grab yet again. I do love how they're utilizing these different projectiles in order to try to mix up Monk's timing as well as get these punishes such as the grab here. Then Monk going to go for a grab himself, trying to go for a big punish here into the shield. Not going to get the up air though. Coming back down here, and then Monk finding himself with DDrakgo in a position where he wants them, getting the final stock of that game in a pretty decisive blow.
Yeah, it really came down to the panic scenarios in close quarters combat. A lot of times what was happening to Draco was they get hit once and then panic air dodge or do a panic roll in, and then you just have to make one right read with Ganon. It's like he doesn't have legs, but he has an RPG strapped to his hands. So he's just like, if you guess wrong, you're playing horseshoes and hand grenades with somebody has an IED in their hand.
I do think that what Monk had at his advantage with a character such as Ganondorf is that although he was playing the slower character, he was able to get a whole lot more damage off of his punishes than what DDrakgo was able to get, and I do think that was due to an underutilization of a lot of Duck Hunt Dog's tools. I think that this could definitely be a really difficult matchup for Ganondorf if there were more, I would say, a more wall of attrition coming out that makes it more difficult for him to fight through that in order to get to Duck Hunt.
Yeah, additionally, we weren't seeing any air wobbles with kidnapping with clay pigeon or up air juggles, or even just extended ledge traps. As you alluded to with gunman and can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going into this next game. We're going to see different adaptations, hopefully, that these players make. And DDrakgo finding themselves off stage pretty quickly. Going to go for the can out of shield, trying to get a nair here, and then going for these big clay pigeons coming out. Monk going to get some damage here on the board. The can's going way off stage, and these clay pigeons coming out, but unfortunately DDrakgo doesn't seem to really be able to follow up with them a lot. Able to interrupt Monk's momentum thanks to the gunman and the clay pigeon, and then going way down deep. and then able to not avoid a punish for Monk rather, and just finding themselves too far off stage to recover.
Yeah, the hand definitely slipped out there. You know, as I know they can, especially in those scenarios, kind of get a little like flustered and you know eventually SD. But the big thing is we're starting to see a lot more willing to play behind your body cards. You know, Mr. President get down with the gunman and more willing to let Can and Clay Pigeon trade out for them.
That's kind of a crazy thing to say about the gunman specifically. But yeah, I do like that DDrakgo is able to utilize these gunmen and the can, and as well as the clay pigeons, especially while Monk is off stage. It really limits a whole lot of his options, and going to get a pretty good conversion there. Not going to get the stock off of the top of that can, but able to go for the up air there and take the first stock here for DDrakgo.
Yeah, no Marth on screen, but we got those can combo conversions coming out in a circuitous fashion. I was running out of C words to say, but let's see if we can get out of this corner after this up B. Oh, I love the delay get up to try to use that a little bit of iframes you get to beat out of that.
For sure, I absolutely love seeing that adaptation there from DDrakgo, especially the reversal, but big aerial coming out from Monk and able to get that stock. Coming in with a dash attack into the grab, and then, oh, shield's looking so sparse there from DDrakgo, but they held on to it just barely. The gunman as well as the can and the clay pigeon putting some pressure here on Monk, but he's still able to wall through here, finding Monk finding DDrakgo off stage, able to recover these big hits coming out from Monk, especially the dash attack here. Just putting a whole lot of damage on the board here for Monk, especially when he's up a whole stock to DDrakgo's 1.
Yeah, and that's another thing we're seeing is that you know, on that platform scenario, a lot of times DDrakgo kind of wants to still be in the scenario, and you're still within like the line of sight. Not quite like, you know, willing to like, all right, you know what, I'm a neutral monster. I'm just gonna reset. Whereas, you know, in these scenarios, it's more like I want to still kind of threaten these, and we've been seeing it like a lot in game 1, a lot less in game 2, but you know, still rearing its ugly head.
Not the stock just yet, however, big damage coming out here from Monk. DDrakgo able to recover, trying to send the can out, and that can actually is going to be another stock for DDrakgo. Finding themselves at a pretty high percentage though, and that quick conversion is what's going to be able to do it. I don't think that can even exploded. DDrakgo was already dead.
Yeah, that was a titanium can, but like again, it came up where it does a full hop in, and then only does like a neutral drift rather than like a full drift or double jump away, realizing that, hey, look, they haven't jumped up or done a backdash. They're actually still willing to take this space that they placed themselves inside of.
Now, what I want to say, I wish that DDrakgo had done more punishments for a whole lot of the air dodges that you see Monk made, or like the different rolls that he did in order to avoid the can, the clay pigeon, as well as the gunman. You just saw him doing that a lot because what DDrakgo was doing was essentially forcing his hand, but it would put him in a pretty vulnerable position, and then I didn't see a good punish follow-up from DDrakgo, unfortunately. I really do think that this game may have played out in their favor if they had done more with those advantages, and that's just not what we were able to see, whereas Monk was able to capitalize pretty quickly off of any advantage it was that he seemed to get.
And additionally, like, a lot of those bears are also sour spot bears, which is a huge. Most of the characters, like, they have a sour spot where it's like, oh no, I killed 5% later. But Duck Hunt is one where it's a night and day difference, where like you get that sweet spot and people go sky, but you know, get that sour spot and it's like, you know, it's like you're almost healing them. It's like, hold on, is there mercy on this team?
Yeah, just unfortunate stuff to see. I do think that DDrakgo is on the right path. However, there's a whole lot more that you need to do with Duck Hunt, especially in getting those conversions. And really, I do think that a lot of that will come from their adaptation as well as their punish game in the future.
Yeah. You need a
Let's see who is next. We do have, okay, oh, Boots. We got Bootleg on deck for stream. Oh, actually, look, but first, can I add myself? We have Veets versus Lakia? I think it's Lakia.
Lakia? Okay, so
Yeah, Lakia.
Vitz, yeah, Vitz being a Joker main from New York, and then